Good morning. Welcome to JoyNews Desk. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle. Coming up this morning, malaria-induced tolerance protected Ghanaians from severe COVID-19 infections and deaths. That's according to Professor Wandari of the West African Center for Cell Biology, who will be telling us more about how that works. Also this morning, 10 million trees to be planted across Ghana today as the country marks this year's National Tree Planting Exercise, otherwise known as Green Ghana Day. We are live at the University of Ghana for that live national event. Plus, as we build up towards the much-anticipated JoyNews Hotline documentary titled A Nation That Begs, we check the pulse of Ghana's age-old debt crisis.
And show that after all, the black man is capable of managing the whole affair.
They came, they saw, and they were conquered. That's the story of the self-taught students of Bia Senior High Technical School. We'll tell you how they managed a smile even after they finished their contest with a negative score.
We are overwhelmed with what he just did here. We've tried, but it didn't work out.
And later in the bulletin, the multimedia group's lead camera technician, Modestus Eliomezame, goes home today. More as family, friends, and colleagues gather to bid him farewell. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. More shortly. Many thanks for choosing us. The director of the West African Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens, WACBIP, Professor Gordon Awandari, has revealed many asymptomatic, mild, unreported COVID cases recorded in Ghana were as a result of high malaria exposure. He says their data indicates that malaria-induced tolerance to inflammatory stimulation protected us from severe COVID-19 and death. Speaking during his inaugural lecture at the University of Ghana on the topic how our immune system acquires tolerance to malaria and helped us survive COVID-19, he said high exposure to malaria parasites leads to clinical immunity, which is acquired progressively after repeated infections by the malaria parasite.
Okay, so this was again fascinating to us because it confirms that we were quite robust in the face of this virus. We got the virus all right, but just ignored it, okay? And this ignore takes us back to the tolerance that we learned from malaria. How do you ignore a pathogen? It's malaria that taught us how to ignore pathogens. To find out, did this have to do with how much malaria they had? So we looked at their levels of malaria-specific antibodies. So these are some malaria antigens that we had. We just tested them for antibodies. So you see that, again, it is very generally true that those who were asymptomatic, in other words, those who were able to ignore the virus, had more previous exposure to malaria. Okay? And then we even took this further. So Kessie took cells from some of these people who were infected, asymptomatic and symptomatic, and cultured the cells and directly stimulated them with malaria parasites or COVID-19 antigens, okay? This is to directly find out whether they will respond. And you see here again that if you look, symptomatics are in red and asymptomatics are in green. You see that for the most part, the asymptomatics ignored the antigens. Okay, so this is, we believe, the basis for them being able to ignore the virus.
Now, Now to the economy. Senior statesman and economist Dr. Kwame Pienim is proposing homegrown policies and collective efforts to solve the country's problems. According to him, the IMF program is just an emergency measure, and we need to restructure institutions of the country to wean ourselves off over-dependence on foreign aid. He was speaking at the 11th joint graduation ceremony of the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. More in this report.
The Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center was established in 1998 and commissioned in 2004 by the Ministry of Defense. The purpose of the center is to build upon and share Ghana's 5 decades of internationally acclaimed experience and competence in peace operations with other African states, particularly those in the ECOWAS sub-region. Over the years, the center has been delivering training in various aspects of peace operations, conflict prevention, and post-conflict reconstruction according to the United Nations standard. The 11th joint graduation ceremony of the institute saw 71 students conferred with Master of Arts degrees and 3 being conferred with Doctor of Philosophy in their chosen fields of study. The guest of honor at the ceremony, Dr. Kwame Pienim, called for a collective and concerted effort to stabilize Ghana's ailing economy. He further admonished the graduates to go out there and continue the legacy of Kofi Annan.
Ghana and most Africa are at a stage where we have to learn to grow our economies without a stop-go gap. And it means making haste slowly, as the Romans used to say. If we grew slowly, 5%, 3% every year, we'll be doing by far better than trying to grow 7%, 11%, and then we go to 3%, 4%, and then we return to the IMF and the World Bank for salvation. For our voice to be heard at the international table for peace and security, we need to become dependent on ourselves. We have enough resources. In the 21st century, there is no field of human endeavor where Ghanaians and Africans are not excelling. Your center bears the brand of Kofi Annan, a great international icon for peace and security, an icon who became the voice for the voiceless. This is the person this center stands for, and you've joined this brand. And therefore, I hope with your learning comes character. And with the character, the courage and conviction of Kofi Annan.
Commandant of the KAIPTC, Major General Richard Ado Jani, reiterated the importance of the protection of the peace we enjoy.
As you take your places in society as academicians, you must be mindful of the pervading threats to security that invariably hampers the continent's economic development. And remember that there cannot be development without security and vice versa. The two are interconnected, that it is not possible to separate one from the other. It is therefore about time that we as academicians began to critically assess the things that continue to hold our society, our security to ransom, in order to be proactive and avert the conflagrations and continue to hold us back.
Valedictorian for the graduating class, Rebecca Yakubu Akati, is first female graduate of the KIPTC PhD program. She shared experience while calling for action to be taken to restrict cybercrime.
I'm very elated to have been the first female graduate in the PhD program of KIPTC, my prestigious school. It took about 5 years since I started this journey, and I must say that it's worthwhile taking this journey. I'm also happy because the topic I chose for my dissertation is so unique and so novel that I think it stood out, and I must congratulate myself. I didn't used to do Momo until just last week. As soon as I started doing the Momo, I saw a lot of threats. I mean, every day I get some funny messages and calls, but before then I didn't get any threats. And so I think that we have a lot of things to do to protect our data. And so that's what I'm so disappointed. I started this Momo thing just last week, and the sort of threats that I keep on getting. And I said, wow, is that what has been happening for the past, is it 4 or 5 years or 6 years? I don't know, but it's so scary. And so I think that we have to do something more serious than what we are doing now.
Prince Kwame Kudogan's report read to you.
Now, after more than 60 years of unbridled borrowing, Ghana is back again to the surgical theater, receiving treatment from the IMF. JoyNews' Isaac Kofi takes us on a historical ride, tracking Ghana's over 6 decades of ballooning public debt stock. Here are assets of that documentary.
New African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing the whole affair.
Right from 1965, when Ghana first approached the IMF under the watch of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, one of the reasons we cited was debt unsustainability or ballooning public debt.
Historically, we always hit a roadblock, but we just have to go and beg our creditors to forgive us.
By the time we went to Sinchi and looked at the policies and the rest, we realized, that it was going to be difficult. The development partners also decided that, they didn't think we could handle this problem ourselves.
Suddenly, we were facing major challenges on our balance of payments. Our currency went into a steep decline. Interest rates went out of the window, inflation, all the indices that had been worked on. And that is what basically forced us to go to seek the assistance of the fund.
We thought that we could borrow our way through debt. And here we are today, as though we needed another epic like yesterday.
A Nation That Begs airs on Joy News Monday, June 12 at 8:30 p.m. and on Joy FM's Super Morning Show at 8:30 a.m. Make a date. To other stories, I have Regional Minister George Boache says the completion of 49 million cedis reconstruction of Goa's water system would end the backlash received from residents when about 20 gallons of safe water would be accessible per day per person. He applauds the government for the funds to commence the project, expected to cater for water needs of about 30,000 people. Precious Semevo has more.
Safe and accessible water is a major requirement for every growing community, and Ahafo's capital, Goso, is no exception. And to meet the growing demands, the existing 10 kilometers water system required an upgrade. The Community Water and Sanitation Agency redesigned the old system to 90 kilometers of distribution pipelines and 12 kilometers of transmission pipelines to provide 100 liters of safe water per day to each resident of Goso, also capable of serving 20 years of projected demand. When completed in 2 years at over 49 million cedis, the system would operate on hybrid power with standpipes fitted with prepaid dispensers, among others. Walanyo Kwejosiabi, CEO of CWSA, spoke at the project startup and handing of sites to 2 contractors at Goso.
The transmission will take care of all the boreholes that we have. We will take the water into new tanks. We used to have a 90 cubic meter fiberglass tank, and then also 45 cubic meters of concrete tanks. But we'll replace all of that with 2 new 200 cubic meter concrete tanks. And the pipes we are using, it has life in excess of 50 years. All of these developments, because of the new status of GOSO, will require potable water, and that is all we are doing.
He appealed for the corporation for successful completion.
The delays sometimes can come from the community. Some of the pipelines may pass through somebody's compound. We will need land for the tanks sites, for the borehole sites. We don't want a situation where some people will come and say, okay, we won't agree, even though we have already drilled the boreholes. So we need their cooperation and assistance and support. If there are problems, they should talk to Omar Henning, they should talk to the regional minister, they should talk to the regional director of CWSA, and then we will resolve it. We do not want too many disagreements on this. It can delay the projects.
Ahafo Regional Minister George Boakye, in applauding the government for providing the funds, relishes the relief the completion of the project will bring to the community.
GOSO has gained a new status as a regional capital. And as a result of that, we have influx of people from all over the country to GOSO. And so there's too much pressure on the existing water system. As a result, it is not sufficient to satisfy the whole community. So this has come at the right time, and it's a big relief to us. Water is life. And wherever water is not sufficient, definitely there will be a backlash from the community. And now that this system is going to be put in place, I know the backlash will no longer come. Our appeal to them, give the contractors all the needed support so that they are able to finish within the 24 months.
Precious Semevo, Joy News, GOSO.
We can now cross over to the University of Ghana campus, where the Forest Commission is holding a national event to kickstart the planting of 10 million trees under this year's Green Ghana Day commemoration.
Activities on the environment. As the years go by, it has become evident that our country is not only losing its forest vegetation at an alarming rate, but actively also contributing to global warming and climate change. This loss is also adversely affecting our quality of life, our agricultural production, and disrupting our livelihoods by making us more prone to natural disasters. Should we then as a nation sit back and lose our fertile forest and land reserves, what explanation will we offer to future generations for the color green, which is boldly represented on our national flag? Fortunately, this Green Ghana Day initiative, which was introduced by His Excellency the President in 2021, has set the tone for us to make consistent efforts to plant tree seedlings as we work to salvage what is left of our evergreen forests. This aggressive afforestation and reforestation drive also helps us as Ghanaians contribute meaningfully to global reforestation efforts and ecosystem damage repair initiatives. While we work together to plant trees to mitigate the effects of climate change on our environment and well-being, it is imperative that every one of us sensitizes our children, families, communities, employees, and constituents on issues such as these. This will help create awareness as we also impart knowledge which will deter others from further destroying our environment and guard against activities that adversely affect our environment and terrestrial habitats. At this juncture, I would like to applaud His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo for this remarkable initiative, which has seen the participation of public and private institutions, communities, and individuals here in Ghana. Today, it is expected that a total of 10 million tree seedlings will be planted nationwide. I would also like to applaud the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources for the honor to host such an important national event, while I commend the Forestry Commission for their continued support to this project since its inception in 2021. Once again, I would like to welcome you all to the University of Ghana's Hill of Learning and Knowledge. I trust that you will enjoy the ceremony and the ambience. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana. I want to acknowledge all Pro-Vice Chancellors, the Registrar who is here with us in the person of Mrs. Emilia Ejay Mensah. We also have provosts, deans, directors, heads of departments, members of convocation, staff, and students. I would also like to briefly acknowledge the Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wogon, the Honorable Lydia Seyiram Al-Hassan. We also have the Municipal Chief Executive who is here with us, Sandra Ahinkra. Good to have you here. The Member of Parliament for Sefiosu and the Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Kweku Efrie, is with us as well. And at this point, it gives me great pleasure to bring on the next speaker. Would like to invite to share his insights and perspectives on this commemorative event, the MP for Damango and the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. So let's welcome the Honorable Samuel Abutinapo.
Mr. President, Greater Accra Regional Minister, Minister for Environment, Science, Innovation and Technology, Vice Chancellor and Principal Officers of the University of Ghana, excuse me, Chairman and members of the Forestry Commission Board, Member of Parliament of the Ayawaso West Wagon constituency, Nime, Name, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today we mark the 3rd edition of the Green Ghana Day, a day set aside by the President of the Republic to mobilize the entire nation to support government aggressive afforestation and reforestation measures to restore our lost forest cover and contribute to the global fight against climate change. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources thanks the President for his leadership and guidance since the introduction of the Green Ghana project in 2021. It is through this leadership and the support of Ghanaians and other residents of Ghana that we have consistently exceeded our target since the commencement of the Green Ghana Day. And I'm confident that today, the Green Ghana Day will be another resounding success. Let me thank the Vice Chancellor and the University of Ghana for their hospitality. Mr. President, this year we have chosen as our theme for the Green Ghana Day, quote, our forests, our health, end quote. This theme, which was inspired by the theme for this year's International Day of Forests, observed each year on March 21st, underscores the importance of forests
So you saw the live event for marking Green Ghana Day. It's actually the 3rd edition, and government says it is going to plant 10 million trees today. We'll try and get you back as and when we get them But that's what is happening today. It's Green Ghana Day. If you want to be part of the 10 million trees, government is encouraging you to be part of that event. We're still live on JoyNews Desk. The Member of Parliament for Nalerigo Gambaga Alhaji Baba Said Yusufu has pledged to reconstruct the Kufori Junior High School that collapsed 2 months ago by a rainstorm. Education is said to be grinding to a halt in that community following the collapse of the school block as teaching and learning are being conducted under a tree. The Member of Parliament says an arrangement is underway for the construction of a new classroom block for pupils in the area. Alhaji Baba Saidu accused the government of neglecting the needs of the constituents. Elias Tanko reports.
MAD structure was constructed in 2003 through a self-help initiative by members of the community. According to the residents, they took up the initiative after several failed efforts to get authorities to build a junior high school block in the community. After the construction, the facility was approved and admitted as a public junior high school in the Eastman Prosi municipality. Sadly, however, according to the residents, since its adoption as a public school, no serious effort has ever been made to construct a befitting classroom block for the pupils. The facility, therefore facing years of neglect, eventually collapsed in April 2 months ago after a violent rainstorm hit the area.
We have nothing to do again, but we have tried. Since 2003 up to today, we don't get any single block. And we don't know how to do. We don't know whether the government have been forget about it or we anoint us. We don't know.
The situation has displaced the school children, among them candidates preparing to write their basic education certificate examination, and classes and other academic works are now being conducted under trees.
They feel lazy to come to school. And also their parents also decide to send them to farms and also give them out for marriage because they don't even see anything good in the school.
Their father don't accept us to come to school again. So now they say they will let us go to bush or farm.
The residents say the municipal assembly authorities are yet to visit the community and address the challenge after the incident.
If I have my own power, I would have let them remove this. I would have removed the education director from the this level. Why am I saying so? You can't sit here and these things are all have been happening and you are so silent and yourself. You are so comfortable with yourself and you don't mind it at all.
The Member of Parliament Alhaji Baba Said Yusufu, who was however in the community, has pledged to build a new school block for the children.
For centuries now, that community does not have a school. The inhabitants came out to do some mad structure, and that is where they have their teaching and learning. And I had to stop my campaign to go there to sympathize with them. And as I'm talking to you, I've made them to make some estimates for me to see how we can collaborate with the community to construct a primary school, a befitting primary school for them. And also we want to use my network with other philanthropists to see how they can come in to help us with this predicament. So I was there.
Member of Parliament also accused the government of neglecting the needs of his constituents.
It is not about tokenism. The government is doing tokenism, and that is not acceptable. And that is our predicament in this constituency. As if we don't exist. As if we don't exist. And it's a worrying situation for me. So I'll continue to do my work. I'll continue to leverage on my network. I'll continue to put pressure on them for us to register the kind of development we are looking for.
Elias Sutanko reporting for Joy News.
Let's go back to the University of Ghana, where there's a Green Ghana Day event, and it is to plant some 10 million trees.
Tree, you water it and make it survive. You haven't done a thing. You are just talking, end quote. Re-echo in our minds, hearts, and inspire us to action. Our forests are indeed our health. If we put our collective efforts together, we can deliver a safe, healthy, cooler, and greener Ghana. Therefore, wherever you may find yourself today, kindly take a moment out of your schedule and plant a tree in support of this noble undertaking. Green Ghana, our forests, our health. Green Ghana, let's go planting. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. And would like to just say that the Green Ghana project, Let's Go Planting, is made possible by partnership amongst the following organizations: Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, the Forestry Commission, the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program for Illegal Mining, NIELP, Minerals Commission Ghana, the Ghana Forest Investment Program, and the Forest Plantation Development Fund. Just enough time to acknowledge a couple more people who are here, and we're happy to have you here. Pro Vice Chancellor for Academic and Student Affairs, Professor Gordon Awandari. It's good to have you here. We also are pleased for the sponsorship of the following organizations: the Chamber of Mines, GOIL, Bank of Ghana, GCB Bank, UMB, FBN Bank, Access Bank, National Petroleum Authority, MTN. We have a couple more: Provident Insurance, Trade Winds Investments, Volta River Authority, Energy Commission, Safe Bond Africa Limited, Frims Oil, MTK Surveys and Engineering, and finally, last but not least, Japan Motors and Natawo Properties and Investments. We also would like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Kweku Asirifi, as well as Alhaji Al-Hassan Yakubu, Dr. Louise Carol Sewa Donko, who is the National Coordinator for the NIELP. And thank you so much. Let's have a brief musical interlude from Atituru Cultural Troupe. So much. What energy from Atituru Culture Troupe. We thank you. Beautiful. Please appreciate them. And they've brought us to the moment we've been waiting for. I'm honored to introduce our keynote speaker, His Excellency, the President of the Republic. Let's rise to welcome His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
clergy, Christian and Muslim, Greater Accra Regional Minister and Member of Parliament for Ayawaso Central, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources and Member of Parliament for Damango, Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation and Member of Parliament for Sefirioso, the Deputy Minister for Education and Member of Parliament for Asin South, Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wogon and Deputy Majority Chief Whip, the Municipal Chief
Well, it's a Green Ghana Day. It's happening at the University of Ghana. Government says it seeks to plant some 10 million trees. We'll take you back there as and when we get the feed. But right now, the minority in Parliament say government must ensure that the Green Ghana Day event do not become an avenue to enrich a few. According to Deputy Ranking Member on Lands and Forestry Committee, Alhassan Sweeney, such programs in the past have been used to siphon money from the state. He was speaking in Parliament as Ghana marks the 3rd edition of Green Ghana Day. I'll take you straight to the University of Ghana, where President Akufo-Addo is currently speaking.
Security and our future, and is the major obstacle to sustainable development. In addition to this, anthropogenic greenhouse gas emissions continue to be the major driver of this crisis. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, for example, reports that human activities have emitted some 2.4 trillion tons of carbon dioxide since the pre-industrial era. And half of that amount remains in the atmosphere till this very day. This means that we have already exceeded the safe level of carbon dioxide concentration that will limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, the target set by the Paris Agreement on Climate Change. The United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP, also estimates that global greenhouse gas emissions need to fall by 7.6% annually between 2020 and 2030 to limit the warming of our atmosphere to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The consequences of this are already being felt across the globe. According to the World Meteorological Organization, the year 2020 was one of the 3 warmest years on record since we began measuring meaningfully temperature on our planet. And the World Bank projects that at this current rate,
we can listen to the ranking member on lands and forestry in Parliament, Al-Hassan Suini, who says that the Green Ghana Day should not be used to enrich a few, who explains that programs in the past, such as this, have been used to siphon money from the state. He was speaking in Parliament as Ghana marks a third edition of the Green Ghana Day.
Initiatives such as this, good as they are intended, do not fall victim of corruption or do not become a victim of corruption. It does not become an establishment that is used to siphon money from the taxpayer. Mr. Speaker, and this is important because climate finance has to be, optimized for impact and effectiveness, and the way to do that is to ensure that strategies are put in place to change finance and to ensure that finance that is meant for climate change and its mitigation and its adaptation are not misapplied, and also give us less optimal value. The President in 2022 in his Sona address revealed to this House that they had successfully planted 7 million trees, 2 million more than was initially planned to be planted. However, the minister weeks earlier, in an answer to a question in this same House, reported that only about 4.89 million trees were planted. Mr. Speaker, the question therefore is, how many trees indeed were planted, and how much did we, throw at the plantation of these trees?
The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources has been providing updates on the two previous editions.
The 2021 planting, we have 80% plus success rate. And the 2022, we have 70% plus success rate. Mr. Speaker, let me use this opportunity to thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for your leadership and for your support in this endeavour. And Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to observe that all the trees you planted on the premises of Parliament are doing very well. The pundits tell us that from 1900 to date, we have lost about 80% of our forest cover. This calls for aggressive afforestation and reforestation. And Mr. Speaker, the Green Ghana Day is one of the efforts government and the country is making to restore the lost forest cover of our country, thereby contributing to the noble effort of the world at halting climate change.
Live on JoyNews Desk, we'll take a break. When we return, there's more.
To reaffirm our commitment to saving planet Earth and protecting our livelihoods. The theme for this year, our forests, our health, is a clarion call for the need to preserve our forests for our own survival. We must do this with a sense of urgency and renewed purpose, noting that success depends on our collective action. This is a duty we owe not only to current generations, but also to generations yet unborn. We must do it with the spirit of nationalism, solidarity, and most importantly, love for ourselves, our country, and our planet. I commend the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources for instituting the One Student, One Tree initiative alongside this Green Ghana project. Through this, we can inculcate the culture of tree planting in our youth and hopefully jettison the culture of impunity that leads to the destruction of our forests. I encourage all students across the country to participate fully in this national exercise and contribute their share to the fight against climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, my government remains fully committed to protecting our environment and our people and contributing to global efforts to halt climate change. Government will therefore continue to explore all avenues to enhance our forest cover through our forestation and reforestation programs and protect our natural resources through community-based management and conservation initiatives. Today, your contribution is to step out, take a seedling, plant it, and make sure it grows. I encourage each and every one of you, my fellow Ghanaians, and indeed all persons living in Ghana, young and old, men and women, urban and rural, to join me on this historic day in this national tree planting exercise. We're planting for ourselves, our children, our country, and our planet. Together, let us go planting 10 million trees and nurture them to maturity. May God bless us all in our homeland, Ghana, and make her great and strong. And I thank you for your attention.
Many thanks. Our keynote speaker, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, for your address. We're gradually coming to the end of our commemorative event. We'd like to thank the following broadcasters for covering this event live: GTV, Joy News, Adum TV, and we were live on the Facebook page of the Ministry of Lands, Natural Resources. As we near the end of this remarkable event, I'd like to express our gratitude to all of you who have made this gathering possible. And to deliver the vote of thanks, it's my pleasure to bring onto the stage the Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission. Let's welcome Mr. John Alote.
Okay. Mr. President, for the past few days, we've been experiencing a lot of rains across the country, which has created a conducive environment for planting. We thank God for this. And surprisingly, we are having a bright and sunny weather this morning to make sure this program happens under a very good environment. Mr. President, we want to thank you especially for this initiative and your leadership, and for making sure that you are part of the Green Ghana planting day each time. The first one you planted at the Jubilee House. The second edition you planted at the Efwas Park. And today you are here to plant at the University of Ghana. We thank you so much. Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, we are very grateful. And we thank you for your leadership role. And we also appreciate you putting together a planning team chaired by Honorable Benito Owusu-Bio, to put together all the plans and activities that are required to make sure that we have a very successful Green Ghana Day. Minister for Environment, Greater Accra Regional Minister, we are very grateful for your presence here. Vice President of the University of Ghana, Madam, we are very grateful for your presence. The environment here, very, very nice. And we have been here on a couple of occasions to inspect the Green Ghana seedlings that were planted in the previous 2 editions, and they are doing very, very well. We thank you, your faculties and students. We are very grateful for your support. MP for Ayawaso, West Wugon, and other municipal chief executives here, we thank you so much, and we are grateful for your presence. Chiefs and then heads of religious organizations, your presence here makes it very colorful, and then we are also blessed with your presence. School children, the media, our sponsors in particular, we salute all of you. What we are asking is that all of you, after the president plants, you also go out and plant in your communities. And then the people who have gone out already to plant this morning, we are very thankful, and we hope that all Ghanaians will get out this morning and continue to plant throughout the day. The 10 million target, we are sure we'll be able to exceed this target with your support. We thank all and sundry, all the people gathered here. The most important thing is that you get out to the field and plant, and also nurture the seedlings we planted in the 2021 and the 2022 editions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alote, for the vote of thanks. Before we conclude this event, we would like to call on the next person to give us a closing prayer, expressing our gratitude and seeking blessings for the future. Let's bring on to the stage the Imam at the Legon Central Mosque, Imam Abubakari Baba.
We'll take a break from the University of Ghana and also News Desk this morning. We'll be back with more.